Just when I take a step outside, the rain, it catches me with no warning. Right before liftoff, what was once light and airy can't catch my breath. Poor sweet canary, for the weight on my body. Oh, break me, take me, climb inside. Bring me to a new divide, and I will grow to know a better me. And this time I will lift off and fly. I will lift off and fly. Just when I take a step outside, all around I see the empty spaces. No matter how many times on this flight I can barely get the height. Now I want to soar with clean traces. Oh, break me, take me, climb inside. Bring me to a new divide, and I will grow to know a better me, a better me. And this time I will lift off and fly. I will lift off and fly. Me and the time we make quite a pair, and it's a solo flight with the wind in my hair. There's a quiet line between me and the air, and I like it here. Yes, I do. Oh, I like it here. I like it here. Oh, break me, take me, climb inside. Bring me to a new divide. Oh, break me, take me, climb inside. Bring me to a new divide, and I will grow to know a better me, a better me. And this time I will lift off. This time I will lift off and fly. I will lift off and fly. Ooh, I will lift off and fly. I will fly high. Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me, as me. For where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me, as me. Oh, oh. Do-do-do. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go. Where I pray and take and give and live, God is, God is, oh, God is, God is. You and I, we all are one, made up of the love through all creation. There is an endless supply of the power that brings us here. And when we harness that life, you know nothing can stop us now. Yeah, and anything can happen right here. Yeah, so open your heart.
Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Bellevue. My name is Ken McClellan. This morning, I'm also known as Not Monica. We're going to do a little tag team on you this morning because Susan Neidig and I have decided that we'll help share and take maybe a little bit of the load off of Monica by sharing some of the duties this morning. So I want to say welcome to Unity of Bellevue. We are so pleased you're here. We're blessed by your presence. And I'm impressed that you all remembered to set your clocks. And you're here. And your eyes look bright, bright-eyed, and wide awake. And I'm so excited to see that. I'd also just like to express a welcome and on behalf of the team here at Unity Bellevue, the team that makes today's service possible. You were probably greeted at the door. If you were greeted at the door by our wonderful greeters, one of our newest board members, Shelley Lish, or Jim Powers. If you got coffee and tea, that's brought to you by Catalina Lish. Our eye in the skies this morning is Daniel McFadden, Howard Lamb, and Jim Schwarting. And the wizard behind the curtain pulling all the electronic strings is our beloved Sabrina McFadden. So, and the flowers, don't forget the flowers. The flowers today, as every Sunday, are brought to you by Linda Hillesheim. And I kind of want to just particularly point out up here on the podium, the sunflowers and the blue vase, to me is symbolic of our friends in the Ukraine. Our special guest speaker this morning is Reverend Gaylon McDowell. I'll introduce him in more detail in a few minutes. And our special guest musician is a return of Mark Stanton Walsh, who we had here recently, and welcome him back. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Mark for our opening welcome song.
Well, good morning, one and all. Nice to be here. I just need to check a little business here because I was having a few problems with my sound issue here. A thumb up if I'm coming through. Yeah? Okay. All right, good. All right, we're going to start off with this great song, Lead Me On, Lead Me Up, a song I just learned, and I'm so excited to share it. So here we go. Lead me on, lead me up, lead me higher and higher, Holy Spirit, do your perfect work in me. And let your love, let your joy, let your peace and your kindness, let the fruit of your Spirit flow through me. Lead me on, lead me up, lead me higher and higher, Holy Spirit, do your perfect work through me. And lift your love, let your joy, let your peace and your kindness be the fruit of your Spirit flow through me. One more time. Lead me up, lead me on, lead me up, lead me higher and higher, Holy Spirit, do your perfect work in me. Let your love, let your joy, let your peace and your kindness, let the fruit of your Spirit flow through me. Yes, let the fruit of your Spirit flow through me.
We come together knowing that God is everywhere and always. We open our hearts to this presence as we invoke divine peace, divine love, divine grace. We know that as divine peace expresses through us and as us, we open up more possibilities for peace throughout the world. We breathe in peace with a sacred breath. We open our hearts in compassion to our own self. We send that compassionate peace outward to each and to all. We send a feeling tone, the vibration of peace to the Ukraine and Russia. We We declare this time together, this community, this service is sacred. We are so grateful, and all is well, and so it is.
Amen.
I'm building my field of dreams. I'm making my life the way I deserve it. Building my field of dreams. And so it shall be, as step by step I go. Out of my discontent and out of my fearful thinking, and out of those limitations, out of the what ifs and maybes, into that co-creation, and into that divine flow, and into the life abundance, and into this life I've sown. I'm not standing still, I'm building my field of dreams. Yeah, yeah, yes. Oh. With God in my heart, unwavering faith all through me, I choose to become. I lay down the past, forgiving that still and small voice. It whispers and guides me forever, and so I move on. And with every breath, I'm building my field of dreams. I'm making my life the way I deserve it, building my field of dreams. And so it shall be, as step by step I go. With God in my heart, unwavering faith all through me. With God in my heart, unwavering faith all through me. With God in my heart, I'm building my dreams, and so it shall be.
Thank you, Mark. That was the perfect song for the spiraling path and how we are co-creating our field of dreams individually and as a community. So thank you so much. My name is Monica McDowell-Elvig. I am your center administrator and doing some operational duties right now as well during our time of transition. I'm up here for just a couple of things today, so thank you for allowing a bit of a break for me this Sunday, Susan and Ken. Metaphysical Lent. Today is the second Sunday in our Metaphysical Lent season, and Mandy, who has been working with me on this, has chosen Carol Reich's poems for featuring this Sunday. I'm going to read one of her poems. They will both be on our website later today, and I've also printed out hers and Joy's submissions, and they're on the Team Unity table if you want to take them home with you for further reflection and reading and contemplation. So this is Quieting Rains by our beloved member Carol Reich. Trees sound softly when rain comes, spring birds stilled. One robin, a distant trill. The one strong stream of bird call beckons lulls, transforms matter to no matter. Awake blood taps energy, involuntary heart beats its quiet work. Calm queens over the meadow which accepts water as moss absorbs and dispels this offering with sweet acquiescence. Taps of drops, most high branch to lesser, spins a mobile of glass. Branch, leaves, barely hold this wet till the next comes rolling over, now gone. Time, rock steady and loyal, bequeaths the one, the next, another time, as trickster and mistress, soaks the memory with mood swings. Mystic souls receive rain's baptismal rituals. Mystic souls of green burst with wild and tame gardens. Delight. Thank you, Carol, for this beautiful reflection on the spiraling path. She has another poem called, it's a longer one, called Out Past Buffalo Jump. Again, that will be on our website, and it's out in the atrium to take home with you. So, thanks.
We're blessed this morning with our guest speaker this morning is Reverend Gaylon McDowell. Reverend Galen McDowell is an executive minister and senior assistant minister at the Christ Universal Temple in Chicago. He's the host of a podcast, Truth Transformations, on Unity Online Radio, a program that provides new thought, lessons, and insightful interviews to help people live better lives. Reverend McDowell is an ordained minister, licensed teacher, immediate past second vice president of the board of directors of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. He is on the Johnny Coleman Institute's teaching faculty since 1997, where he now serves as the director. He's also a success and life coach. Reverend McDowell is known as the hardcore metaphysician. I love that, hardcore metaphysician. Because of his passionate and powerful presentation of new thought. He is a regular contributor to Science of Mind magazine, along with helping people with projects for Unity, the Universal Foundation for Better Living, and the International New Thought Alliance. Prior to his talk this morning, the reading that we've chosen to go with the talk this morning comes from the New Testament book of Hebrew, chapter 11. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Indeed, by faith our ancestors received approval. By faith we understand that the worlds were presented by the word of God, so that what is seen was made from the things not seen. Before Reverend McDowell comes on, I'd like you to join me in our affirmation. I'll read it through one time and then ask that you read it through with me. There we go. No matter where I am on my spiritual journey, I am learning and growing in consciousness. I experience the expansion of my being on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, relational, and spiritual. Everything I am is sacred. All that I know is blessed. I surrender to the energizing, spiraling path of my divine unfoldment. And so it is. So to ask you all to join with me, both here in the sanctuary and those of you online, no matter where I am on my spiritual journey, I am learning and growing in consciousness. I experience the expansion of my being on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, relational, and spiritual. Everything I am is sacred. All that I know is blessed. I surrender to energizing, spiraling path of my divine unfoldment. And so it is.
I have learned patience. I let go of time, for the dreams reveal just a little each day, and my heart is realigned. I do get weary sometimes and wish that you were here. If I could just reach out and touch your face, it all would disappear. Can you just hear one word? Oh, let me know you're standing in me. I believe, but it's so hard sometimes. Today I just don't see. Where are you? I am unfolding. I'm following my guides as I watch that change sweep through me. My light is magnified. I do get weak sometimes, almost lose my way. Give a little bit of power to the pull of this world. I forget the words you say. Can I just feel one touch? Oh, let me know your light is in me. I believe, but it's so hard sometimes. I shout out loud, can you hear me? I am just a human. In this life I fall, I rise to gain the wonder of you, and I must believe that every test of faith your love brings forth for me will clear the haze and thread my way and bring me to a place that waits for me. I'm gonna fly away with you, and if I keep the faith will lead me home. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I am becoming just what I am to be, and in the hands of this grand universe I place my destiny. I get so weary sometimes in my efforts to stay pure. I give surrender to the lure of the material world, but then I'm not so sure. And won't you just say one word? Oh, let me know you're standing in me. I believe, but it's so hard sometimes. I get so weary. Can you hear me? I am just a human. In this life I fall, I rise to gain the wonder of you, and I must believe that every test of faith your love brings forth for me will thread my way and clear the haze and bring me to a place that waits for me. I'm gonna fly away with you, and if I keep the faith, yes, if I keep the faith will bring me home. The faith will bring me home, yes. I'll keep the faith, I'll be the light. I'll keep my heart wide open for you. I'll keep the faith, I'll be the light. I'll keep my heart wide open for you. I'll keep the faith, I'll be the light. I'll keep my heart wide open for you. I'll keep the faith, I'll be the light. I'll keep my heart wide open for you. I'll keep the faith.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Okay. man, beautiful. First of all, I just want to just thank Mark for all of the wonderful song, music, and guitar. When I was a young man, my dad wanted to make a Jackson 5 group, so he decided my siblings and I were going to be a band, so I had to learn how to play the lead guitar. But now I can't even read music, so I didn't stick with it. So maybe you might be my inspiration. So I want to just thank Unity of Bellevue for inviting me, the administrators, the board of directors, and everyone who was there today. It's always a privilege to speak to congregations and present this new God message to the world. Because when it's all said and done, I believe that we have a powerful message that can transform this world. Because we know that we start with the mind, that all causation is mental. And when we can transform our consciousness, we can transform our life order affairs. And when we transform the collective consciousness or do our part in this transformation, then we can see noticeable change in the world. So today my lesson is faith sees the end. Faith sees the end. And this is a wonderful lesson because no matter where you go in religious circles or spiritual circles, you're always going to hear conversations about the word faith. Now, faith, people use faith differently. Like, for instance, you'll hear people talk about faith as if it was the religion itself. People will say, what faith are you? Or what faith do you believe? And then there's some people who look at faith as a very abstract principle, something that really can't be explained. Like, oh, you just need to have more faith. But they can't really explain what that means. For some people, faith is a feeling. So what I'm going to do today is explain faith from a particular perspective that I believe will help you and your community. And then two, let's talk about how do we apply faith in our everyday lives. So, for those who are watching on Zoom, you can comment. For those who are watching in person, you can do what you need to do. And for those who are watching on Facebook, you can watch and put it in the comment section. I'll double back later and take a look at those comments. So let's start off with the scripture first, because the scripture that I want to use for this lesson is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, which one of I believe his name was Ken, read earlier about faith being the assurance or the conviction. Now, most people are familiar with the old King James Version, which is faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I like to use newer translations when I work with the Bible, but it's still saying the same thing, which is this, that there's a step that happens mentally before we see something out here. There's an assurance, there's a conviction, there's a knowing spiritually, deep within the soul, before we start to see outer appearances. So if we can go to my first slide, I want to break that down for a moment. So this slide is from Charles Fillmore. I'm a big Charles Fillmore fan, just like Unity. The founder of our church, the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman, was originally a Unity minister before she founded the Universal Foundation for Better Living. So I'm teaching, and we teach, basically the same principles that are taught in Unity. So let's go to the slide after this one. So Charles Fillmore wrote, faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Now, what is this saying? First of all, I want to take a look at some of these words, and you might want to, write this in your notes or however you capture your notes, that the word perceive means to see. So what it's saying is faith is the seeing power or ability. Faith is the seeing ability of the mind. Just like we have eyesight, we have insight, we have mental perception, we have spiritual perception. So it's saying that faith is the seeing ability of the mind. Faith is the seeing ability of your awareness. Faith is the seeing ability of your consciousness. And it's linked or connected. That's key. Linked or connected with the power or ability to shape or form substance. So a lot of people have a lot of different definitions for substance, the idea and divine mind of perfect form and all of these things, but I like to use simpler terminology. I just like to call it infinite, unlimited, infinite possibilities and unlimited potentiality. So God is no thing. Therefore, God can be anything necessary in our experience. So we are forming and shaping it in our thought. So what faith allows us to do is to see our good as the potential, see our good as the possibility when there's no evidence of it. And then it's connected to the power to shape the substance. Now, what is that power that shapes it? What is the power that shapes this unlimited possibility, this infinite potentiality? That's the imagination. One of the things that Charles Fillmore talks about is that imagination is the power to form and shape thought. The power to form and shape thought. So when you start to look and work with this principle of faith, I want you just to recognize that you have the ability within your mind to see your good and form and shape it. You can see good, you can create it in your mind, you can see it in your mind, and you can shape it in your mind. And that seeing, forming, and shaping in your mind will allow you to be able to manifest it in your life. It's the perceiving power. You have the ability to see. All right. It doesn't take faith to see what's already here. It takes faith to see what's possible. It takes faith to see the potential. It takes faith to see beyond the physical appearances of the world and see health in the midst of illness, to see prosperity in the midst of seeming financial lack, to see peace in the midst of chaos and discord, to see order in the midst of nonsense. It takes faith to see those things. It takes faith to see love in the midst of the appearance of hate, because faith is perceiving something beyond the appearances. Let's go to the next slide, please. It's all good. I'm going to keep you working. Also, faith is your ability to say yes to God. Your ability to say yes to God. And I don't know if they can see me or see my face, so you can take the screen away now. The slide away. It's going to be on this point for a moment. Now, I want you to think about it for a moment. If God is unlimited possibilities, infinite potentialities, and this good is omnipresent, because one of the things that we focus on in New Thought is that God is omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence. In other words, all the presence there is, all the wisdom or intelligence there is, all the power that there is. Okay. And we teach in New Thought that God's essential character is absolute good. Absolute good. And God's will is consistent with God's nature. So God's will is absolute good. We say in the Universal Foundation for Better Living that we believe that it is God's will that every individual on the face of this earth should live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life. Now, if we believe that, how do we accept it? We have to say yes to it. Just because God is omnipresence does not mean that you have mortgage and rent money or car note money. Just because God is omnipotence does not mean that you automatically are going to express certain aspects of good that you say you desire. So faith allows us to say yes to God and God's good, because opportunity can be in front of us. Ideas can be in front of us. The potentialities and possibilities can be right in front of us. But how often are we saying yes to God's good in our lives? I'm a big believer that if you don't have the consciousness for something, good can go right past your face, right by your nose, and you won't even see it. Because the ability to say yes opens your mind to be able to see what you used to not be able to see. That's faith, because opportunities, yet again, can be right in front of you. But if you're not open and receptive in an attitude of yes, great opportunities, great blessings, great breakthroughs can be right by you, right next to you, right in front of you, waiting for your yes, waiting for your choice, waiting for your receptivity, waiting for your alignment. And you miss out. Not because God is withholding, it's because we still have to choose. We still have to choose. And we see this over and over again in scripture. Choose you this day whom you will serve. You know, Jesus said, let your speech be yes, yes, or no, no. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 and 8, asking it shall be given, seeking you shall find, knocking the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks, receives, everyone who seeks, finds, and everyone who knocks, the door will be opened unto him. Now, why those statements over and over again? Because there's, and I'm using this as a simple term because I believe that we're the self-expression of God, but just for the sake of sermon, this is the best way to explain it. There's God's part and we have a part. So we ask, we seek, we knock, we see in faith, we choose at the mental level to be able to form and shape or accept the presence and power of God as it works within us. So what I want you to think about is a basic concept. What you radiate, you attract. What you radiate, you attract. What are you radiating? You're radiating your mental atmosphere, your mental field. What is that? What you think, what you feel, what you believe. Especially the dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. They go before you to create a place for you, and they come back to you to bring you unto those experiences. So as you're working with these new thought principles that you're learning at this church, as you're listening to this lesson or any other lesson, I want you to recognize that there's never a moment where you're not radiating something. And what your mental vibration is consistent with will be what is drawn back to you. Why is that necessary to understand? Because one of the other things that Charles Fillmore taught was, and Myrtle Fillmore taught the same thing, was that thought is mental vibration or impulse. So to think is to create vibration at a mental level. So that which is consistent with my vibe, and we've been saying that for decades. I wasn't feeling that person's vibe. Why do we use terminology like that? Because at a basic level, even if we've had no religious training, something within us knows that vibrationally we're matches for certain people and not for others. You can walk into a room and everything seems right, but the vibration is off, and you'll say, I don't need to be here. That's when you start to learn and trust your own intuitive nature that knows that what you radiate, you attract. And when something's not in alignment with you, you gotta keep it moving. Now, are you willing today to say yes to your good? You get these ideas. And if everybody's honest, everybody's had that moment where you see somebody else executing an idea you had. You're like, I thought of that 5 years ago. I thought of that 10 years ago. I had that idea 20 years ago, but we never did anything with it. But part of saying yes to God is saying yes to the ideas, saying yes to the inspiration that comes to your soul, saying yes to that desire, that God knocking on the door of your soul, seeking to express some idea through you. That's a part of saying yes as well, because many times we have situations and circumstances where we receive the vision, we receive the dream, we receive the insight, and we don't do anything with them. That's saying no. When we say, okay, Okay, God, you gave me this idea. Okay, let me contemplate this. What do I need to do? How do I need to work with this? And then that's when you start to work with your faith. Why? Because faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Faith is your ability to say yes to God. So when you start to work and ponder with the ideas, then the faculties that God has blessed you with, the spiritual gifts that you've been blessed with, can start to work to bring your dream into manifestation. All right. Now, one other point on this before I go forward. I often teach this process to my students in the Johnny Coleman Institute and on my podcast, Truth Transforms. For those who want to find Truth Transforms, you can find it on unityonlineradio.org or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, all the places that carry podcasts, or just Google Truth Transform. You'll find me. I've been doing it for like a decade, so I got a lot of stuff online. Now, a lot of people receive the idea. That's revelation. You say, God showed me the dream. God gave me the idea. That's revelation. And people think because they get the revelation that it's automatically going to show up as manifestation. But no, there's an extra step. There's revelation, there's realization, then there's manifestation. All right. Just because you see it doesn't mean that you have the faith or the other aspects of consciousness to bring it into manifestation yet. Right now, at the revelation stage, it's still a potentiality. It's still a possibility. You got to do some work at the realization, because realization is knowing within your soul that it's real. It's making it real when that thinking and feeling natures, that conscious and subconscious nature within your soul come together to know a thing to be real for you. Then we're talking about manifestation. So you have a lot of people frustrated because they'll say, I know God showed me the vision. I know God showed me the dream. How come it's not showing up in my life? Because you're still at the revelation stage. You haven't moved over the realization. You don't jump from revelation to manifestation. You jump from revelation to realization to manifestation. And anytime you try to shortcut the process, you only create frustration. So let's get to the next slide, please. This is one of my favorite quotes. Neville Goddard, who's very popular these days, he said, man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself. I love that statement. You might want to say that where, the people that are in the congregation, just say it, audibly say it, so we can say it together. 1, 2, 3. Man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself. You can take the slide away. Now, what this is saying is simply this. You can't have a big God, a big dream, a big vision, a big mission, and a little you. That's important. If you have a big God, then you have to have confidence as the conduit, as the vehicle, as the vessel of that big God. Because we teach a new thought that we're all individualized expressions of the one presence and one power we call God. So again, I always talk about her because she was my spiritual mother and senior minister and teacher and everything, Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman. And she would always say, how big is your God? How big is your God? You don't need a big God to do this little stuff that you're talking about doing. And she would it was a challenge to be able to say, okay, you have a big God. Now, Neville took it a different step when he said, yeah, you have a big God. But do you believe that you're big? Do you believe that you're large? Do you believe that you're unstoppable? Do you believe that you have the capacity? Do you believe you can get the breakthrough? What do you believe about yourself? Because you can have infinite resources, and if the vehicle of what's the word I want to use? Not transformation, transportation is broken, then it doesn't make a difference how good the infinite resources are. In Chicago, where Christ Universal Temple is, and I'm out in the suburbs outside of Chicago, but we're right next to Lake Michigan, one of the largest lakes in the United States. All right. Now, all of that water won't help anybody if the pipes are corrupted. All of this God, all of this life, all of this love, all of this power, all of this wisdom, all of this substance will not help you if your thinking is corrupted with doubt, with fear, with anxiety, with frustration, with being mesmerized by the appearances of life. It doesn't make a difference how big God is. That's why I always tell people, people like, oh, in new thought circles, we tend to sometimes not want to deal with real world stuff because we say, oh no, God is in charge. That's an erroneous belief because we teach that consciousness becomes form. So if there's no consciousness, then the demonstration is not necessarily going to show up because, again, remember, there's revelation, realization, manifestation. If there's no realization of what you're talking about with this God stuff, then it doesn't make a difference if God is omnipresent, if some kid is getting shot on some street. It doesn't make a difference if God is omnipresence or omnipotence when there's hungry people. It doesn't make a difference if God is omnipresence or omnipotence or omniscience when people are being bombed right now in Ukraine, if there's no realization of God is love, if God is peace, if God is joy, because it takes people to bring these attributes of good into demonstration. And outside of that, we're just sitting back and talking about everything's in divine order, sometimes while the world is crumbling around us. For those who know the truth, it's our responsibility to be the vehicles through which that truth expresses. It don't mean, you always got to take physical action. Sometimes that does mean that. But it always means that you have to be obedient to what Spirit is guiding you to do. Think, feel, say, do, and react. That's practical Christianity that this movement was known for and has to stay known for. So the realization of God as peace has to first show up in you. It's hard to play for peace in another part of the country when you're going off on your family members. I don't want to go off on a tangent. Let me pull myself back. Let's get back to faith. So do you have confidence in your own ability? How's your self-esteem? Self-esteem is a real conversation these days because people can have talent, education, and experience and disqualify themselves because they don't have the self-esteem to step into their blessings. So when it says man's faith in God is measured by his confidence in himself, I just want you to just think about this one basic point of new thought that we drill almost harder than anyone else. Humanity is made in the image and likeness of God. And there's something radically right about you. Most religions teach you that there's something wrong with you, and they have the only remedy. New thought teaches that there's something radically right about you, and we're going to help you uncover it and express it. Your self-esteem should never be based upon outer factors, race and gender and nationality or orientation or all this other stuff. Your self-esteem has to be based upon the fact that you are spirit because God is spirit. And as is stated in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. Your wholeness is in God, not in your outer things that you connect to as a personality or as an ego. Because those things can be attacked. Those things can, based upon culture and where you are and other people's opinion, people have all different type of various opinions about those things. But here's the one thing that they can't deny, that you are a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual law. That's the process. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So Jesus gives us, and I can't believe this time is going by so fast. It just happens, boy. So Jesus has this statement. Mark 11, 23, 24. Truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and if you do not doubt in your heart, but believe that what you say will come to pass, it will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it is yours. Now, when I teach prayer and faith, I always go back to this same scripture because it says a few things. First thing it says is, truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain. So it's telling us that when we're dealing with obstacles, we should be speaking the word of truth to it. If you say to this mountain, I don't know what your mountain is, but Jesus did not tell us to pray for the strength to climb mountains. Jesus is telling us, speak to your mountain and tell it to move. To move. Get out of the way. All right. And then he says, and if you do not doubt in your heart, the heart symbolizes the subconscious mind, your deep feeling nature. What do you believe at the deep subconscious level of your being? But believe. Believe means to accept as true. So don't doubt in your subconscious mind, but accept as true what you can say can come to pass. What you speak can come to pass. It will be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe again, accept as true, that you have received it and it will be yours. So this is saying to us in real time that if you don't pray to get, you pray to know that it is already yours. Because he says, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. This is why you have to pray in faith. Because the scripture right before this, Mark 11, 22 says, have faith in God. And then he's teaching how it works. He's teaching you how it works. So, and he's giving you the steps to be able to apply it. All right, let's get rid of this slide, please, and get to the next one so I can close out. Faith determines how much and when. Faith determines how much and when. You can take the slide away. So, I just want you to just think about it from this perspective. Faith determines how much and when. Again, God is infinite possibility, unlimited possibilities, infinite potentiality. God is no thing and God can be anything and all things necessary for your experience. But what that looks like is this. Your faith will determine how much good or God you can accept in your life and when you can get it. Write this in your notes. Expectation is a form of prayer. So expectation in this context of faith is saying how much. Again, using this analogy of Lake Michigan, I could go to Lake Michigan with a thimble. I can go to Lake Michigan with a cup. I can go to Lake Michigan with a bucket. And I can go to Lake Michigan with a pipeline. And it'll meet all those needs. So what's the difference between the thimble, the cup, the bucket, and the pipeline? They symbolize our thinking. God is never limiting our good. We have to grow in consciousness to this place and space through which we can accept more of what already is. And the when just goes back to when is it showing up? Do I have a right now God? Some things you can have the faith and conviction to be able to demonstrate it now, depending on your level of consciousness. Sometimes it's something you got to grow into. But in God is always now, because one of the things we say in New Thought is there's no time in God. But there's no time in God does not mean that something is put off infinitely. There's no time in God just means that right here and right now, you can have your breakthrough. You can have your healing now. You can have your breakthrough now. You can have the doors open now. You can get past these breakdowns now and get your blessings right now. because faith sees the end. Faith sees the finished product. Faith sees it complete. And the more you can accept in faith what already is in potential, in possibility, the greater the ability to demonstrate it in your everyday life. My time is up. God bless you. I hope you got something from this sermon. And remember, just go out there and make this stuff work, because it works if you work it. God bless.
It's somewhere, sometime, an unfamiliar trail. I hope for a destination, a half-lit fairy tale, and I'm on the road, and a feeling lights my way. Oh, I know, no matter what, I'll be okay. And the highway pulls me onward. I'm beckoned by the moon. There's an answer in here somewhere. Everything's a clue, and I'm on the road. And though a part of me just kicks and screams to stay, I know no matter what, I'll be okay. Ooh, and the traveling gets lonely. It's forever at this wheel. I relive some lost affection as I search for something real, and I am on the road, and I just might lose my way. But I know no matter what, I'll be okay. Ooh, I'll be okay. Oh, yes. Is this the promise of tomorrow? Is this the future's luring call? Is this my ticket to the golden gate of heaven? Or just my last hurrah? All the miles move like clockwork, and there's nothing to impede. For I'm trusting in God's highway, and I'm cruising at full speed, and I'm on the road, and this could be my perfect day. For I know no matter what, I'll be okay. I will be okay. Well, it's people and it's places, and it's this highway's haunting song. It's the wisdom of experience that pulls this man along, and I'm on the road, and my faith shall lead the way. For I know no matter what, I'll be okay. Oh, yes, I'll be okay. And faith shall lead my way. Ooh, and I will be okay. I will be okay. Oh, it's somewhere, it's sometime. It's an unfamiliar trail.
Well, we have certainly been blessed today with our meditation service, with everyone who has contributed to making this all happen for us today, with this wonderful message. And I just feel like I want to listen to that all over again because there was so much in it for me. Acting, believing in faith. And as we come to this time in our service when we talk about sharing of our blessings, this is particularly, really hit me this morning because I have had to grow in my faith, in belief in my abundance. I recognize I had said no to God for a long time. I don't even want to tell you how long. But I do recognize, as Reverend McDowell was speaking to us, that yes, it began in my mind when I said yes. Then I said, okay, I'm not going to act in fear anymore. I'm going to act in positivity and realization and expectation. And because I thought, how am I going to contribute to my church? How am I going to have enough left for me? I know I'm going off on a little tangent here, but it just was so powerful that when I made that decision, and I have to tell you, the first time I signed on the dotted line to make a pledge was kind of scary because I didn't know how that was going to happen, but I had to say yes. I knew it. It was time to say yes. And I cannot tell you the blessings that I have received by giving of my gifts. And so thank you. Thank you all. For those of us who call Unity of Bellevue our spiritual home, we know that, and we practice the spiritual practice of giving. I would just invite you all, if you have not made that choice, to think about it. We have to grow in it. I was a thimble, let me tell you, for a long time, but I'm growing, and it's wonderful to see the growth that I've experienced. So in that spirit of consciousness and abundance and expectation, I would invite you to share our offering affirmation with me. But unless I forget to tell you that there are several ways that you can give to Unity of Bellevue. Go online and check out those ways. And also, you might just check with your employer. I was so tickled. I will absolutely tell you, I was so tickled when I found out that my employer would match my gifts to Unity of Bellevue. So it's like, oh my gosh, I made that pledge, and now, surprise, my gift is being doubled. So talk about blessing. So the ways that you can give to Unity of Bellevue were just on your screen. I would ask you to join me in our offering affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
We celebrate the oneness. Have I turned it off again? Is it working? We celebrate the oneness of divine spirit, the source of all of our good. As unique expressions of the divine, we engage in the flow of abundance through our spiritual practice of giving and receiving. The gifts given today are gratefully received. We bless the givers and the gifts. We know that gifts given in love bless us all, and we are so grateful, and so it is.
Good morning again. Welcome to Unity of Bellevue. If you are visiting with us for the first time on site, we open our hearts to you. We have a welcome packet for you. It's just to the left of the sanctuary doors as you exit. Inside that welcome packet is a coupon you can take to the bookstore for 20% off any book of your choice. If you are joining us online for the first time, you can go to our website, unityofbellevue.org, and go to the I'm New page, and you can request that same welcome packet, and I will put it in the mail to you. We also invite you to go to the bottom of every page on our website and sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. There's a sign-up form on the bottom of every page, and that is the best way to stay in touch with everything that is happening with us while we are hybrid, on-site, and still some things completely online. So look forward to joining that weekly newsletter. The prayer chaplains are here to pray with you. Susan Neidig is our prayer chaplain today. She will be leading a hybrid prayer circle in the library following service. There is a Zoom link on our launch page if you would like to join that online. You can always fill out a prayer request form that's sitting by the south entrance, or you can fill it out online. You can also email them at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. If you have submissions for a metaphysical Lent, you are still free to submit those. We're accepting submissions through the end of the month. I know a few people are still working on their projects, so we look forward to seeing more of them. We've got plenty that have come in to cover us for all of our Lenten Sundays, so thank you so much. And there's a page on our website under events that you can check out all the information. Contact Mandy or myself if you have any questions. Tomorrow is National Pie Day, PI Day, and Women Connect has decided to provide the food for the Sophia Way for tomorrow on Pie Day. And we've gotten a lot of dollar donations to help cover some pizza pies and salads and beverages, and some people have brought some pies, fruit pies as well. So if you would like to donate with dollars, we can do that in the bookstore today, or there's a link on the newsletter that you received. So join us in helping to supply some fun food for our Sophia Way sisters. Our healing engagement, our second healing engagement with Dr. Donaldson is this Wednesday online at 6 p.m. The launch page has the link, the Zoom link for that. So all are welcome for that, and we invite you to join us. The board will be speaking about ways that they have and will be changing policies and procedures so that to prevent ruptures in the future. So join us for that if you'd like to find out more. We again thank you, Reverend Galen and Mark Stanton-Welch, for being our virtual guest speaker and guest artist today. Thank you so much for the rich content and rich music. We're so appreciative that you were present with us today. Next week, Dr. Mary Ellen Johnson is here, and Becky and Matt are back with us as our guest artists, so that will be good to have them back with us in person for the first time in a long time. So we are going to close with the peace song. Mark is going to lead us in that, and then followed by the prayer for protection. Mark, go ahead.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Blessings. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you so much.
Yay!
Art, the music is so great. It's like right together. Turn this on. It's so magical. Always when you sing, then it's really quiet, like all over me.
I'm just speaking as
And you must be so awesome. So I think I gotta get it to you.
I'm just speaking his language, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Bless you. And what a treat. Thank you. Hey Daniel, how are you? I think that's you, right?
Yeah, that's
The best. And Reverend Raymond, what a privilege. Thank you. What a powerful talk.
Yeah, he's gone already.
Oh, he's gone. Okay. I'll pass that on.
Change our mind, and anything at all we want to feel is waiting for us just to make it real. Yeah, let things keep getting better now. Let things keep getting better now. If life is a mirror reflecting back somehow, let things keep getting better now. Don't let your mind get in the way. Just let your heart open space. You and I, we know a secret here, a secret of this life we live. Yeah, let things keep getting better now. Let things keep getting better now. If life is a mirror reflecting back somehow, let things keep